Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a different type of video. I do a lot of yapping over here, and what I could do is do a bunch of community posts, ask you all several questions, and then come back and make a video per question. Um, I could do that, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that per se, but it feels less me to me. I think today's video feels more comfortable where I like the conversation aspect of this YouTube thing here. So if you want to partake and just rattle off in the comments any of the questions that I'll have today, I'd appreciate that. Or if you just want to see what other people say. That's cool too. This could be a Reddit post or something, but that's not what I necessarily want to go for. So, with that kind of established, what are we talking about today? I have several questions that have been kind of on my mind, and I really didn't know how else to approach it, really. So, I'm going to put all of them here, and I think we can all have some fun with this because every now and again, just have some fun, right? So, the first question is, which tyrant do you prefer? I also will give my answers to these questions, and if there's other questions you want to ask me or the hive mind, feel free to rattle those off in the comments too. So, first off, which tyrant do we prefer? Walkrant, Flyrant, Swarmlord. Personally, I am a Walkrant fan, and I know that this is probably not a hot take, but after that, sometimes it's Swarmlord, for the malign presence, right? Nothing against the Flyrant whatsoever. I just wish Paroxysm didn't have the chance to fail. Um, and overall, I like the lethals. It's good. We know it's good, and I like having a ranged weapon option on top of melee. I am a very cover your bases type of person where I understand going full melee for a Walkrant and Flyrant only can go full melee, right? But I don't know, sometimes you might need that one random shot with a heavy venom cannon that does a wound or two because it's damage 3 that actually comes in clutch. So I'm a round baser person type of thing. So question number 1, which tyrant do you prefer? Which leads me to the next question as well. So I put Swarmy here because I want to know, who is your warlord for your army most often? I think it's kind of funny how other armies necessarily have, if their supreme commander is good, like we're talking Gilliman, Mortarian, I'm hearing is pretty decent right now. Uh, Shari, Angron, like things like that. I you kind of have no choice in the matter. But for some of them, I find it funny when I notice some people's list and it's like they'll go with the Neuro Tyrant as their warlord. Um, Personally, if I'm playing Vanguard Onslaught, Death Leaper as the warlord is non-negotiable. So just the question of, who do you make your warlord when you are playing your list, your 40k? Mine, yes, I understand that there's tactical advantages. If my warlord is a deep striker, that means that my warlord can't be killed turn 1 or something to activate Imperial Knights. Like, shit like that, I guess. But I usually don't care that much, and my answer, probably the Hive Tyrant again. And you'd think that I really like the Hive Tyrant at this point. I should say, no stuff if I'm taking the Swarm Lord. It's the Swarm Lord because I want the ability, right? But also, the other thing is that sometimes I dabble in a bit of Neuro Tyrant. Just because, I don't know, it just feels better to have my commander, my warlord, on the field at most times, all of the times, really, and it just feels more directive, especially seeing, I'm going to be honest, okay? Looking at the Hive Tyrant in Space Marines 2 definitely put up the cool factor for the Hive Tyrant for me. I've been very lukewarm about the Hive Tyrant, like all the time. But I did think that was pretty cool. So that's one. And to explain the Neuro Tyrant, I don't know. I do like that as a backup as well because I don't know. It feels better. It's like, go my Neuraloids. You all are commander. Well, I'm the commander. That's my thing over there, giving more directives. I don't know. I feel like the maybe it's auras. Maybe I need to do auras for my warlords that make me feel that way. But I've also seen people take like Turvy, and I guess shitting out babies also does the same thing for some people. Um, Warlord style. That's not a dig. That's genuinely like I mean I could see it. I could feel it. So maybe it's turvy for some people. But yeah, who is your warlord that you often go to? So first off, favorite tyrant. Second off, who's your warlord? And then this one going over here to the Norns. Which Norn do you prefer? Because I thought I was in the majority at the start of the edition, where it was like, oh, the Norn emissary. If I'm being real, uh, I think I've told this story on the channel before, but I knew somebody in college, and they were like showing me 40K late 8th edition, right? Uh, the I don't know if I can still say this on YouTube without the video going all the way, but the thing that happened in 2020 came around and I kind of like fell out of 40K. But then seeing the Norn emissary, I was like, yeah, yeah, I get it. And the Tyrannifex. So the Norn emissary is one of my favorite models in the game. Like it is, I love this thing, and I thought most people felt that way too. But I'll be honest, I don't know if there's been a shift, but I see a lot of people prefer the Norn assimilator like aesthetically. And that's not to say that I don't like the Norn assimilator. I think it's might be like the close second for me in terms of favorite models. Maybe Void Dragon is up there too. But like I really like the Norn Emissary. And that's not just from a competitive standpoint. I That's not what that is. I just really like the Norn Emissary model a lot. So if I want to know which Norn you prefer, Norn Assimilator, Norn Emissary. I guess that might sound more biased as I didn't like hype up the Norn Assimilator with some story on that. But I did think it's cool, right? I do think it's cool. Do think the model is cool. The hands are pretty dope. The toxin injector harpoons are sick. But I'm a Norn Emissary stan. Then we have which battle line do you prefer? I think I've made it no secret on the channel. I guess I should say Endless Multitude. You know what, Neurogons, get in here. Which Endless Multitude do you prefer? Um, Most people like their gargoyles. Most of them stand by them. It's up to you. Termagants can be fun as well. I get it. I'm a Hormigaunt stan. I like Hormigants the most out of them. I've thought the Raptor little kikyu is like I love that. I love the little Raptor running situation. That's me. Now, I should say there was a time where Termagants were like really had my heart too, because I was like, well, why wouldn't I want the ones with like guns too, like the little guys with guns? And that's I don't know. I vibe with Termagants as well. Gargoyles, I like them play wise. Not even that much play wise, except for like again Vanguard Onslaught, um, where I can take a brick and put that in right there immediately. That's cool for that. Um, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I know the competitive advantages, gargoyles, yada yada yada. Everybody, that's why they are now 85 fucking points for 10 models. Um, I get it. I'm a Hormigaunt stan. So, which Endless Multitude. I guess I should, since I did throw Neurogons in here. I'll be honest, I haven't had more time with them. I have not appreciated them as a unit, so that's purely on me. Uh, and with people running amok with, equivalent units, maybe I need to break out the Neurogons and give them a what for. I would like if they were able to be led by something else, though. Maybe they need to be led by. What would make me feel better about them being led by something? Like something else that's not the Neuro Tyrant. Uh, See, here's the other thing. We don't like have things for that. Where I'd really be like, yeah, this is dope. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I feel like I want them to do something, like more, not just be efficient, right? I want something more out of them, and I don't know what it is. I don't know who could fix that if there's a fix. I'm not high on Neurogons. So there's that. Next, Carnifexes and Zoes, and you go, how the fuck are these related? I want to know which of our Death Star units you are a fan of. Do you like Old One Eye and the Carnifexes, or are you a think tank lover? Uh, I'd say like me, but out of the two, I do prefer the think tank, Neuro Tyrant and Zoe's. Um, what is it? It's not that I don't like the Carnifexes whatsoever. It's just that I promise it's not Space Marines 2 related for Zoe's either. I don't know. This entire edition, while everybody was on Old One Eye and the Carnifexes, I was like, I just don't love it enough to do it often. Like, I do like Old One Eye. I think I've just been on the I don't know. I think I wasn't a fan of like the Carnifex breakout this edition early on. So yeah, I don't know, Chief. I think I've just been a Zoe's thing. Maybe it's also because again the bonus things like where I can again Neuro Tyrant, Neuroloid, go. Like I choose U type beat and the Zoe's offer protection. The battering ram with the Carnifexes, if it gets taken down like quickly, it feels like I've just done a lot of points. So that's my opinion on it. And again, I don't want to dissuade people because I like the counterpoints. If you come in, you're like, no, 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 no. I've never gotten value out of the think tank. And don't get me wrong, I've definitely had my qualms with the fucking think tank. Um, but if you're like, no, my Carnifexes do it, Death Spitters for days, or I guess while we're here, well, whoop, right there. I want to know if there's anybody out there still standing with full melee Carnifexes or mixed melee. I see it on eBay all the time. I'll be honest. People putting up Carnifexes on the old bases. Well, they're both still accurate. Actually, that's the other thing with Carnifexes. Hey, damn, Carnifexes got a lot of questions. Okay, think tank or wrecking crew. Um, Ranged or melee Carnifexes or mixed, and what bases do you have your Carnifexes on? Are they on the ovals or are they on the round bases? Both are still legal. Last I checked. Uh, because they're being sold as that still. So until they address that, you can do it. More or less. Like, there are some things that have another one. Like, does the Soul Grinder come with a base, or does it not? And some people no. Soul Grinder. Either way, there's some things out there that have base discrepancies, but last I checked, round bases on Carnifexes is still legal. And of course, what detachment do you play the most? Or like the most? Maybe you don't play it the most, but you just like it the most. I've talked about it on here a lot. Um, I really don't like Invasion Fleet. just because I got tired of index like insanely fast, but there wasn't much to be tired of. But I think I've been more so worn out by the fact that I see where things weren't thought out right. Like, I see why we don't have more sustained hits or lethal hits on some of our other units. Because if you give sustained lethal an invasion fleet, it's now busted. Uh, if you give +1 to wound on some shit, and it's too easy, like Neurolictor says, hey, take a battle shock test. Whoopsie, did they fail it? Oh no, SpaghettiOs. Um, then if it fails, then you get the +1 to wound. Broodguard Impulse, you have to lose a Harvester, and then +1 to wound. So, like, not saying that +1 to wound needs to come easy, but it'd be nice if we had Lance on one or two things. It'd be nice if we had more devastating wounds on one or two things. Uh, Especially with, like, we don't have toxin sacks anymore. So, like, things like that. I it would have been nice. And I'm still holding out hope that the next detachment does something related to old war gear. I'm not ever really calling for war gear point things to come back. Um, but I would like enhanced senses, toxin sacks. What else? I guess those are my main two, really. Things like that that come back in some way, right? Now, to answering the question about further the favorite detachment. I've talked about it a lot. I've been a Crusher Stampede believer for quite some time now. While everybody else was like, no, there's nothing to do in Crusher Stampede, I was just like, what are you talking about? I can finally throw my monster in somebody's face, auto detonate it, and call it a fucking day. Um, you know, that was already nice. Our monsters have been our strong suit this entire edition, right? Like, there was no guess about that. So, Crusher Stampede for the most part, but uh, I have also, I think, like damn near every Tyranid channel on here tried to do more with Vanguard Onslaught. And this is where I should say it's interesting that Vanguard Onslaught, I think we all want to love it more than we can. This is again just not not to say that Vanguard Onslaught is bad. Again, I still think it's good and serviceable and all these things. But I think it's interesting that we don't have more that I've seen this edition. If somebody knows a channel, go ahead and sound them off in the comments. I don't really care too much about that. But I don't see too many fellow Tyranid channels that their main thing is Vanguard Onslaught. It is a second for me because every time I go, man, how can I make this funky? The answer is Vanguard Onslaught. It's either making a monster lone up, some infantry unit in a way having a movement trick. It's something advanced and charged Trigon. Like, it's usually the answer to do something funky is usually Vanguard Onslaught. Uh, range Tyranid warriors, +1 to hit, possibly +1 to wound, surprise assault, lone up on the crackback. I'm telling you, the second GW gets their shit together and buffs my ranged warriors, that's what I'm going to do in Vanguard Onslaught. I'm not running to Warrior Bioform Onslaught because fuck that. uh, not on that one, but Vanguard Onslaught just has funnier things for me to do. Instead of -1 to wound while I'm standing next to a fucking Hormagaunt, how about you just make it lone up? Shit like that. Vanguard Onslaught has a lot of fun answers. Um, but I think I value the consistent fun answers of Crusher Stampede. If I know my Maliceptor is going down, I'll get off the fucking point, ram that fucker even further into my opponent's backlines, and then kapoof. Now you're just a little bit more wounded, and we're getting there. Uh, was talking to somebody in the comments recently that also can understand taking a Hierophant, crush a Stampede, 2d6 detonation. Okay? Yeah, shit like that. The Norn. The Norns. Why'd I say it like that? The Norns. But Norns, when people are like, they don't gain anything. I'm like, no, you fool. What happens when people find out your Norn made it to the objective? They want to get it off. They try to auto-see it in foolish mortal ways. I finally go down, kablam, D6. That as you can see, I really like things that happen when there's a trade-off. Like, you've put a lot of resources to remove my Norn. I am going to make it a tough time for you. That's the type of shit that I like. Um, but my number 3 is probably going to throw a lot of people off. It's Synaptic Nexus. Synaptic Nexus is such a love-hate for me because there are so many times where I write a list and I go, this would be better in Synaptic. And then, like, honestly, after I made the Vanguard Onslaught video lately, where it's like, well, maybe this is on us. Maybe the inconsistency about it is because we're trying to make it a full Vanguard Onslaught list, or Vanguard Invader list, that we don't do for things like Assimilation Swarm, Warrior Bioform Onslaught, Crusher Stampede. Like, we still take other things. Maybe this is on us. But as I was writing list for it, I realized how much fucking synapse I had, what I was doing, and I was like, this is Synaptic Nexus right here. And again, to some fun answers, like, if I want to bring out a Hive Chrome, and in Vanguard Onslaught, I was like, yeah, I could just advance and charge it into something 26-inch movement. Alright, catch a Hive Chrome to the face. That's funny. Or, Synaptic Nexus, give it a Neuraloid, 5 up invuln, and now, congrats. Like, my Hive Crone is a little bit more survivable. And again, that's not to say that a Hive Crone is that good. I'm just saying, um, things like that are funny. So Synaptic Nexus, I was pretty bummed about the reinforced Hive node change because of other Armor of Contempt. But the entire edition, I write a list, look at it, go, I really don't want to put this in Invasion Fleet. Oh, I have 7 Synapse units in this list for some reason. And this is, mind you, coming from somebody who doesn't value Synapse like that. I don't value Synapse as an army rule this edition. Like, I don't really value that highly. Um, then I go, oh, well, I did want to go on some melee situation here. And what if I don't bring an Exocrine? What if I can find a way to reroll? Oh, I can reroll ones because, yeah, Synaptic Nexus. And at the same time, I can still be a very big critic of it because things fall apart. Things fall the fuck apart. Uh, the rules are kind of leave me something to be desired because I've talked about it, and even as somebody that I'm not gonna lie, I think this edition kind of turned me off of Orcs as my third army. Uh, which is weird to say because they've had so many like power hikes this edition, but um, I've talked about it that Synaptic Imperatives is the WA broken out into 3 turns for whatever reason, more or less, right? And 5 up invuln is cool. 5 up invuln is good when you can shove Brood. Well, Broodlord Gene Stealers already have a 5 up invuln. You can shove, excuse me, uh, Winged Tyranid Prime and Gargoyles in your opponent's face, and then 5 up invuln. Uh, it's good for shoving shit in people's faces and 5 up invulning it. Bricks of Neurogants could do that. So shit like that, it is Funny to do something like that. +1 to advance and charge. Would be nice if there was advance and charge in the army besides the Hormigons, right? So, uh, this is fine. And then again, you get to that part where it's like, well, I could make this a melee kind of list. I could do this kind of an advanced list. So you take the Hive Tyrant, and then, you add a little bit more movement, but it's kind of so whatever on that front that it's, yeah. +1 hit in melee is cool. But 9 times out of 10, that's for a unit I could have found a way to do that somewhere else. But at the same time, again, Synaptic Nexus is just so bittersweet for me. Um, because there was a good portion of the edition where I was thinking that this was going to be where I lock in the most. And again, as somebody that likes Norns, you think everything just lines up for me to go to Synaptic Nexus, right? You'd go, oh, he likes Norns, he likes Monster Mash, but he also kind of likes some other things like Von Ryan's Leapers. All of that be perfect together in Synaptic Nexus, and then you go, damn, I'm like not doing shit. Like I don't know. That's just, especially with the nerf, I just feel like sometimes I'm just not doing shit. Smothering Shadow is cute, but spending 1 command point for a target that was already battle shocked. Usually, I don't need to spend a command point for some mortals on that front, like the things that are getting battle shocked because of how they got battle shocked and where they are next to a synapse unit. Like I don't. I need more deep striking. If they can give me Trigon Prime back, right? If we could get a Trigon Prime back, then I'm all in, right? Like if we had that, but between Parasite of Mortrex, Winged Tyranid Prime, Winged Hive Tyrant, is that everybody that can deep strike with? Yeah, I think so. Between that lineup, I'm still not taking the Parasite of Mortrex like that. That's 80 points. I could do something else. Winged Hive Tyrant, cute, yeah, cute. And Winged Tyranid Prime, again, cute. So like, there's places where it could be valuable, and it's not to say that this is a terrible stratagem, but I just don't often find that I want to spend 1 command point to get 3 to 4 mortals somewhere else. And that's the other one that I was like, I know I'm missing a tab when I had this planned out at one point, but I forgot in the last version of my notes. Um, so and I guess I'll just wrap up on Synaptic Nexus, why it's my third pick. Over Assimilation Swarm. Assimilation Swarm, I like it. I do think it's cool and has things, and I think it's our best detachment right now. But just I don't know. I think it's cool. I I wish there was more flexibility in, I guess, harvesters. Like, don't get me wrong. Hey, still love Triple Ripper or you Double Ripper. Like I do say, hey, take Rippers, and I do like Pyrivores. We know that too. Um, Harspec is cool. Psychophage, I'm more of a fan of it than other people apparently. So like I like those. Norn Assimilator, like it as well. I maybe my brain just hates that I have to hear you have to take one of these to perform in this detachment. Like maybe that's the subconscious thing in my brain. I don't really know. But the thing that I guess this isn't much of a question. This is a bit of an observation that might have a question attached to make it less painful for everybody listening to this. Um, do you use your free CP with your tyrant to command reroll often? I think sometimes we just do that shit way too often. If I'm being real with you, uh, we should probably not be struggling with command point usage as much as other people. Um, and I think sometimes it's just so easy to go, well, my half time's right here. I could flip that to a reroll and go for it. But how badly do you need the reroll compared to like doing something else, like having it for imperative dominance for a turn or some shit. Like, I guess if you're playing Invasion Fleet and you're only doing 5 up Feel No Pains because you didn't bring any melee because fight phase, endless multitude, change hyper adaptation, maybe that's you, right? I get that. But at the same time, that could be a command point or something for free for Fight on Death while you're going down instead of trying to save the one thing, right? Like, I think just sometimes we too often look at it and go, well, it's right here. I might as well command reroll. Uh, I I get it. Command reroll is very tempting and will help in a lot of situations. And maybe it's just because I don't like dice that much, but I just feel I kind of suffer with my consequences too often, I guess. I go, damn, well, I could command point reroll it, or I could make sure that I have a CP to do something else. I don't know. That's just my gripe. Is it a gripe? I don't know if it's a gripe, but yeah, that's where I kind of lie on it. I think one of the things that's easy to do is get carried away with the fact that you have access to reduce the cost of a CP, and then instead of doing something more useful, we just blow it on command reroll. Uh, so it's like, man, I did my 5 up, feel no pain. All right, that's all I got. Might as well do the fucking uh command reroll. All right, but sometimes that could be fuck it, fight on death. Pile and consolidate better. But again, looking at most invasion fleet lists, we're getting there. We're getting there with invasion fleet, so I take that back. But sometimes that could be a. It's not a lictor. Fuck. What could it be? I mean, for Hormigons, that's where I'd go. Like, yeah, just 4 up fight on death Hormigons, and then um bring them back, like something like that. But I'm trying to think of what people's invasion fleet list has been lately, and I guess there's a lot of targets that you kind of just say fuck it. All I got is that. But to that point, hey, why are we doing that? I don't know. I wish some lists were more rounded out, but that's my personal thing, and it's not to say that anything's wrong with them. Just I don't know. I feel like we've done too much shooting this edition, and our fighting isn't strong, right? I get it. We don't have. We're not looking at the fucking World Eaters level unit. Okay, they're not looking at World Eaters level units right now. Apparently, we're not looking at Blood Angels level units out of our codex. But at the same time, sometimes you take your Warlord Gene Stealers and you throw them in somebody's face. Yeah, the 5 Feel No Pain's cool. You did that. You could also fight on death, and I think we underutilize some of our strats sometimes because we done blew our command point or free command point with a Hive Tyrant on command reroll. So I think that's all the real questions that's been rattling around in my noggin lately that I could make a bunch of community posts and get, some votes there. And then, all right, Hive Mind, you answered. You all use the walk rent. Like, I could have done that, but I don't know. I felt like this was more fun. If we like this type of video for every now and again, let me know. Oh, and also, please let me know if my audio's better. I've heard this a couple of times that my audio is lower, but for me, when I'm like listening to the playbacks and things, I'm hearing everything. And then I'm like, is that really? No, we're good. So I don't know. Like, I I wish you all could hear exactly the way it comes back to me, and that's how I think it is, but I guess not. So if you could let me know audio on this video too, I'd appreciate that. So yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.